Hey, welcome back to Home Studio Pro. I'm so glad you're here on the channel. And I can't wait to tell you about my favorite mic arm that I use here in the home studio. It's the PSA-1 from Rode. But why am I showing it to you like that on a graphic? I've literally got it right here. I've had this one for about 4 or 5 years now, use it all the time, and in fact, I've liked it so much a couple years ago, I actually bought a second one for the other room and my home office. This is just the perfect solution to clear up your desk, to make more space for your hands and your equipment, and to get rid of a mic stand that you might knock over, or you might, make some noise that vibrates on the desk, and then that translates through the microphone. This not only looks way more professional as it comes across, it helps you also with production value and mic technique and getting a cleaner audio sound. So the PSA-1 mic arm, I cannot recommend enough. But I'm also, later on in this video, this is a little bit of a review, I'm also later on going to tell you a huge hack, something you can do to this mic arm that not a lot of people know about that makes it look so much more professional. You can instantly take this, about $100 mic arm and turn it into a $400 mic arm based on one little thing with some soldering and some confidence, but we'll get to that part in just a second. First off, the review, kind of my main features of this mic arm. Number one, it's got a tremendous professional build. It's got the Rode name on it, and they make great microphones, great audio products. They have been on a roll literally the last 5 to 10 years. So it's Rode built. You can rely on that. You can count on that. They actually do make I think PSA-1 Plus now. I have no experience with that. It's got a little bit of a different look here on the actual arm, maybe some neoprene or some foam. I don't know that I'm sold on it or if it's perfect. I haven't used it. I don't know what makes it better than this. If it is better than this, I'd be impressed because this one is pretty darn good. And another thing I like about this one is that all the springs are internal. You understand that the way that this holds itself up, right, is the mic as a weight holds it down. If I took the mic off, this thing would shoot straight up. It's got the springs that want to naturally keep it up and push it up. It's that the mic's weight balances it and holds it down, which requires some springs, some tension here in the arm, like the vertical part, but also the horizontal part. But clearly, you can't see any of that because it's all internal, as opposed to a lot of mic arms, cheaper ones that have external springs, which if you ask me, it's not just the visuals of seeing a long spring right here. It's the fact that if I grab it right here, I could get pinched if I move this thing up and down. That is the absolute last thing I want, external springs. So internal springs, a huge deal. There's also 2 different ways to mount this mic arm. Number one, there is the desk insert. I wish I could show it to you here, but it's literally kind of like a hockey puck. You drill a hole in the desk, you put that puck in the desk. It's kind of got a lip on top, so it sits on top. You screw the bottom side into it. So now you've got kind of like a hockey puck embedded in the desk with a little hole in it. And then you just stick the post of the mic arm into the hole. So if you really want to custom flush mount this thing, you use the desk insert. But it also has that desk mount, which essentially you kind of clamp. It's a clamp style. You take the lip of the desk and you kind of put the clamp here, you tighten it up, and then that just sits on the lip, and then you stick the mic arm into that. So 2 ways. All of this comes with the PSA-1, so you don't need to buy anything extra. It's great to give you that versatility. If you can do it clean, if you're going to drill a hole, great. You can do it that way. If not, if this is a temporary thing, you can move it around. That's no problem either. This arm can hold a microphone of up to 2.4 pounds. Now, this is the U87. This is a big boy in terms of, not only cost, but weight. This is a larger microphone. And not only that, the shock mount that I'm using here, the Rycote shock mount, it also has some weight to it as well. But it holds this no problem, right? It can kind of just sit in any position you want it. It stays even if I lengthen the arm a little bit. This will hold any position quite well. You should know that cheaper arms, if I let go like this and this is too heavy, all of a sudden it starts drooping, and that's not good. You can also see that it holds the mic's position very well. No matter where I actually move the mic, it's straight vertical up and down. So again, build quality, design of this thing, can't say enough about it. And trust me, in In my experience in broadcasting, especially in radio over the years, I have used some bad mic arms. This is far from it, especially for the $100 price tag. Holding up to 2.4 pounds, that's plenty enough for almost every mic that you'll ever want to put on this. And then it's also long-reaching, not the vertical part, but the horizontal part. So the actual arm part right here is about 32 inches. So, you're going to have to figure out where you want to mount this, how you want to sit, but it's designed for most applications. It's got a nice long reach. You're not going to have to worry about it not being long enough from the point that you want to mount it. Okay, so I told you, I love this thing, but there was just one thing about it from the very start I didn't like. And maybe you've noticed here. Do you notice the difference between that and this? Look closely. That and this. Where's that XLR cable going? It's coming out of that pod mic, and then it's on the top part of the arm. This one's actually got some nice clamps. I think it came with some like Velcro Rode straps that obviously I don't use anymore. But how am I doing it here where you cannot see any cable? Like, here is the XLR. It doesn't help that I'm wearing a dark shirt, but here it is. I'm following it with my finger. It goes right here. It goes up into the boom arm, and then it goes up the arm. And I don't know if you can see it here. Goes around the bend and then down the back and all the way to the mixer. So how on earth did I hide that XLR? I'm here to tell you that one actually fits. You can take an XLR and actually run it through the mic arm. There's a spot on the top that's perfect, and a spot on the bottom, and a spot in between where it bends that you can actually thread an XLR cable through. Now, I have to tell you, if this is how your cable looks, you clearly understand you're not going to be able to put this male or female part through it. You've got to cut this off. You've got to take off the connector. You've got to desolder the connection that currently exists. Then, with the end unsoldered and it kind of being an unfinished end, you take that, you thread that through the top of the arm right here. There's a little spot for it right there. You thread it all the way through. You come to the part where it bends, you thread it out of there and then back into there, and then all the way to the bottom of the mic arm, the vertical part where it connects into the desk. There's a spot for it to come out perfectly. So you got to be careful with this, right? It does take a little bit of finessing and take your time on this part, but cut both ends of an XLR cable off, make sure it's long enough, feed it all the way through. Actually, I suppose you could do this by only cutting one side off. Now that I think about it, you would need to do both, but I did both to get it to the right custom length that I wanted. Okay, then once you've got that figured out, now you need the soldering iron again. You get it hot. You solder in all the connections, 1, 2, and 3. So the 1, the 2, and the ground. And then you put your connector back on. In this case, I used a right angle female connector to get into this microphone. I just think this looks, a little more, it's hard to see there, just a little more clean in the overall, scenario of it, instead of having a longer XLR come out of here and having it more visible and I couldn't move my hands down here. I wanted the right angle to kind of get it out of my way. So I was able to get around having that cable being seen. I just thought that was something and it's crazy because Rode doesn't really talk about the ability to do this. It's nowhere publicized by them. It was nowhere in their manuals. I've been literally looking at this, I was at the time, for months saying, wait, I think I could fit the XLR in there. And I think I could come out here and down the back. And sure enough, I thought, well, I'll just try out a cable and see if it works. And it did. And it does. And I've been using this for years like this with a completely clean look. So as you can see, I think this ups the value of this boom arm right here. And I'm still perplexed why this is not something that Rode highly publicizes, right? Instead of this, it just kind of looks not fully all the way there, right? Like the top end boom arms are able to conceal the cable. This one doesn't. Oh, but yes, it does. You just need to know how to do it. So that was the only thing I didn't like, and I figured it out. And just to be clear, the requirements are this. If you're going to do this, you need a longer XLR cable, right? One that can go the entire length of the boom arm, and then get to whatever you're plugging it into. If you need a couple more feet for that, you need to go under a desk, whatever. You also need a little bit of distance out here to get from the end of your boom to your mic. Now, you want to be careful and you want to be especially mindful of how long this distance should be. You don't want to go too short for sure, and you'd rather also not go too long. I've used the right angle female to get into the XLR here on the bottom of the U87. You could go the straight variety too, depending on what mic you're using. Like if it were a front address, like an RE20, maybe you want the normal kind of female XLR. You will need some soldering skills, and you will need both time and patience to get this done. I've seen several people do it, obviously including myself. And even if you're moderately qualified with the soldering iron, you can do all of this in less than an hour. And in my opinion, isn't it worth it for all the videos you can make with it and have it just look clean? Absolutely, is what I think. So going back to the whole Rode PSA 1, a great mic arm at a great value. It's something you need in your home studio. And not just that, like think about the $100 you'll spend on it and get all that quality, but then it's got that hidden feature, literally that hidden feature, which makes it more of like the $250 to $300 value. So a great product from Rode, can't recommend it enough. So happy you're here. Consider subscribing to this channel if you like this type of content. I've got lots more coming your way. And hey, thumbs up on this video if it helped you. That would greatly help me in return. I'll see you next time.